This is your boy Alert Wolf. I'm here today to bring you another review. This time it is a manga review. Alright, manga review. And it's going to be of Green Blood, Chapter 21. This one is called Point of Origin. And at Point of Origin... Oh, before I even get into this, it's so good to be back to bring you a Green Blood review. My channel has been for a while. It's back. So I'm going to put out... There's only 3 chapters that I've missed. And I guess that it's back on a hiatus. So I'll just put out these 3 that I do have. You know, real fast. So you'll get these 3 videos out of me. And, you know, it'll catch you up on the manga. I've decided to do them separately just because there's only 3. I don't want to put out a catch-up video. Alright, so Chapter 21 is called Point of Origin. Now, basically, what we get is a flashback in the beginning. Now, the flashback has to do with, you know, the boys, or not the boys, excuse me, the founders of the Gravediggers and their running in America. So, Gene McDowell and Edward King showing up in New York to make it rich, and at 19. And this was the country of their dreams. This was their dream to come to America and to live the American dream, to make a fortune, to get rich by hard work and guts and determination, and to be somebody. You know, to be upwardly mobile in society. But when they got to New York is a slum. It was horrible. They're like, you know, and Edward's like, this is supposed to be our dream. You know, it's a nightmare. Or not Edward, excuse me, Gene. And you know, it's basically, it's pretty sad actually. You know, but it starts to show you the type of men these 2 guys were at the beginning, because there's a panel where basically Edward shoots this old dude in the face who's trying to steal his luggage, and then he's like, what the fuck was that about? He's like, I don't know, he just tried to steal my shit, so I had to kill him. He's like, we don't have time for this petty small shit, we gotta go make our fortunes, go get out of here. And then you get Edward, not Edward, excuse me, you see Gene, somebody's coming towards Gene, it's a starving child, he picks up the child, he's like, no, we're staying. And he's like, we're gonna make this place infested with evil, and we're gonna protect it ourselves. So it was Gene's idea to stay and try to protect the citizens of New York. And basically, that was his plan. You know, and it's true. A lot of the origins to a lot of these gangs, and originally, or the mob, or some of these things, was to provide some semblance of law and order in the beginning, anyway. It starts with that motive. So, and that's what the Gravediggers were originally about. Then we get caught up, and we're back on the battlefield in the moment where it's a showdown between Gene and Luke, and they and Gene knows he's not gonna. I mean, he wounded him. He's like, oh, next time I'll shoot for real. And you know, he's like, get out of here. You know, Brad's like, get out of here. You're gonna get yourself killed. Please don't shoot him, boss. Just shoot me. And so he takes the gun from him and like pistol whips him with it. And he's like, stop being stupid, kid. And he's like, you know, basically, he's like, just take me. Brad's like, one final request, you know, I'm ready for this. Don't kill my brother. And he's like, I won't. This will end with just you. And so, I mean, because he's been shot up, injured, You know, he's half dead anyway, Brad, right now. So this is what goes down. And right when he's going to shoot him again, his brother jumps in and like, you know, holds him and to shield him. And so Gene starts beating the piss out of Luke. And basically in Luke's head, he's like, it's my turn to protect you. You've been protecting me from the horrors of this place my entire life. It is my turn to protect you. There's no way somebody this weak is going to beat me. Don't worry. You know, and it's, you know, it's just a far cry from where Gene was, where he formed this thing to protect the children, basically. That's what moved him. And now he's beating up this kid of his former best friend, and his right hand, and the brother of his right hand man, and this has all gone to hell. His dream has turned into a nightmare. And finally, eventually, he's like, you know what? Forget about it. Forget the whole thing. I'm just gonna leave. If I ever see you two again, I'll kill you both. And it's funny. Brad's worried about him. You know, because Brad has finally snapped out of his rage, and that's the thing. That's the difference his brother makes in his life. As soon as his brother was back, that part of him that was turned on into super elite killer mode was turned off. And he's like, and he's talking, you know, he's like, boss, if you let me live, aren't you gonna, basically, he's gonna be in a lot of, you know, trouble. He's like, no, enough bloodshed was shed today. Don't worry about it. You must have a big head, basically. I don't need you, you know? And that's where, you know, pretty much this is where this manga's headed. Like, he's just walking away into the sunset. Well, not to the sunset because it's raining. Again, the artwork for this is pretty good. And then they tell us that basically they give you a panel that on this date, the grave diggers lost like 117 people. Iron Butterfly lost 87. Then this was like a massacre, and the grave diggers were eradicated. So, you know, they're done as a gang basically because they lost almost everybody. And for that matter, if you lose 87 people, the Iron Butterfly is pretty much done. You know, I'm sure they have more members, but they lost a chunk. Yeah, and it was like October 10th, 1866, and that's how they end the chapter. What did I think of this chapter? The flashback. I'm glad that they didn't give us a full. It's funny with this flashback because it was short and sweet, and just to show you how far Gene has come in his character, and who Gene was in the beginning, and who Ed was in the beginning. And basically, they may have started off similarly and together, but Gene had a good spark in him, whereas Edward kind of didn't. You know, he was kind of fine with just shooting that dude. There was no way that dude would have overpowered him. He could have just kicked him and kept going or something, but he shot him in the face. You get what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you who these guys were in the beginning, you know, and why he ended up leaving with the Mercy, because at his core he's a good person, or there's good in him. I won't go as far as to say any of them are good people, but it's there, and that was the purpose of the flashback, to show the character progression that happened to get him to this point, which is very good, because without going through a full-blown, like a multi-chapter deal, he was able to do it in this thing. It's not to say I don't want to see more little flashbacks, especially about the dad and what happened to the mother. I want those answers, but what I'm saying is minimal. He used this flashback very minimalistically and managed to accomplish a lot without having to go out and physically do chapters of this stuff, which I thought was great, because we were left with such a tense moment with the showdown, and they bring us right back and they finish it. So this chapter was, I think it was a great chapter. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really good. The pacing was good. The argument back and forth was good, and the facts at the end. So I really, really like this chapter, and I believe the next chapter, you know what, is I think called Responsibility. And yeah, chapter 22, I believe. Yeah, I'm right. Responsibility. So, having said all that, click it up if you like it. Comment if you must. And please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is your buddy Alert Wolf signing out.